I'd love to promise you amalgamation today because I believe it makes a lot of sense. But it's a pipe dream. I can't promise you something I can't deliver on. But I am prepared to move on it and take baby steps. As I say, I want to amalgamate garbage services. Now, I'm not going to call it amalgamation because Frank Clare doesn't like that term. And some people don't. But, you know, we're all facing some very challenging financial times. And the rest of the four core municipalities, I think, would be very receptive. I have a 13-point action plan that I'm going to move on as soon as I come to office. And people say, 13 points, that's unlucky? No, it's not unlucky. It's hard work that's going to take it. And one of those points I will read out to you is I will open immediate discussion with Esquimalt to determine the possibility of renewing our policing agreement. It's a travesty. We should not be losing them. That's a beginning. And I truly believe that I can bring that agreement together. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to give away things. I'm not going to pay for Esquimalt's policing. But I think I can create a situation where we can keep Esquimalt in. If you read the evaluation of the board of the police, you will see every year there are comments in there with regard to the chair who is keeping things to himself, doing things behind people's backs. All you have to do is go to the Victoria Police Department and read the comments regarding the evaluation of the board every year. I don't think that's a way to run the police. And I believe I can bring Esquimalt back in without giving away too much. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll differentiate myself from the other candidates here because I do not believe in amalgamation. We don't have an open and accountable government. Amalgamating it into a central government will make it even harder to get information out of it, right? And now Dean will say that he's running a very open and accountable government. And to that I would ask, why are 20 council candidates running on platforms of creating a more open and accountable government if we already have one, right? Now, the police are one of the main forces driving behind the amalgamation, right? They want to have regional policing. And their excuse is that they can't communicate cross borders. Now, this is ridiculous. We're living in a communication age. They should just post a website and have everyone access it like everyone else does. So these things can be easily overcome. I would rather prefer a community policing model. If you look at Esquimalt, they're the ones who have signed into an amalgamation police force, and a lot of people are very unsatisfied with the level of police support they're getting. This is driving them back to hire at great cost another police force, right? So I don't think amalgamation works for us. People are saying it's cost saving, but guess what? We're taking jobs away from people. When we need to get our government functioning, we need to get more involvement in our democracy, and amalgamating will do the opposite of that. So please consider those thoughts.
Thank you. And I think as someone said earlier, I mean, you have to be careful that you can't promise that a third party will do something when you can only promise what you can do when you reach out. So recognizing that there are 13 mayors out there, that they all have their own sort of pieces of information and views and why they ran, that it's going to be difficult. I agree that we should start looking at amalgamation in a larger sense. I think we can look at, looking at three first. Can we have a West? Obviously, they fit together, a core, and what I'm now starting to call North Shore. So it's West Shore, North Shore, and the core. But you also say, okay, what steps can we take? I mean, in the last 3 years, we have brought forward to deal with some of these issues. So what have we done? We brought forward and have successfully said to a motion is, you know what? BC Transit as a commission should not sit outside of the CRD. We should have regional planning on transportation, on highways and buses and all of that. We've successfully brought forward and now have the province saying we will look at bringing that planning, that regional planning, into the CRD. I'm happy that we've been able to help move that forward. We've done the same thing with infrastructure priorities. We brought a motion forward to the CRD and said, you know what? We are being played by the senior levels of government, depending on who's running in what, to say, we're going to give you this over here because our candidate likes it. And what I'm saying is, as a CRD, let us determine the top 5 priorities and then go out and say to the senior levels of government, these are the ones you need to fund. Now pick 1, 2, or 3, whichever one you like best, because you have to allow the senior level of government some choice there. But we brought that motion forward to determine those top 5 priorities so we can move forward as a region and get the money that we need from senior level government. We have hosted the first ever joint council meeting between the City of Victoria and Saanich. And we talked about what we're doing around climate change We talked about emergency management. We're looking forward in the new year to have another one. Let us talk about regional transportation, because it doesn't make any sense to do an HOV lane that either that starts at Uptown or ends at Tolmy. We need to make sure that when we do those lanes, that those are important. So we'll continue to do those work. Thank you.